In a world on the brink of transformation, where the echoes of history whisper lessons for today, a leader emerges from the annals of the past to guide us through the complexities of the present. This is the story of Joshua, a testament to unwavering faith and divine guidance amid the tumult of change. Let's journey together through the trials of a nation on the brink of greatness. Good day, Grace Keepers, and welcome to another Soul to Soul Sunday here at Relate Nation. I'm Jo, and I'll be your host and fellow traveler on this journey. Today we begin the first of 4 episodes on the book of Joshua. We'll be looking at chapters 1 through 5 if you want to get your Bibles ready. This is a good one, folks. I'm excited about this book, and I hope you are too. So let's get started. In the sweeping narrative of a people on the cusp of a monumental shift, the torch of leadership passes from Moses to Joshua. Here they stand, the tribes of Israel, on the east bank of the Jordan. Across the water lies Jericho, and beyond that, the land promised to Abraham so long ago. Joshua feels the legacy of Moses pressing down, its weight mixing with the excitement of what lies ahead. Fear whispers alongside faith. Yet, through it all, a divine voice cuts through the uncertainty, reaching out to Joshua with a mandate that is as daunting as it is exhilarating. Moses, my servant, is dead. Now, therefore, arise. Go over this Jordan, you and all this people, into the land that I am giving to them, to the people of Israel. Picture Joshua, the weight of centuries upon his shoulders. Generations of his people had longed for this land, whispered prayers of return, yet here he stands, the first to see that promised place with his own eyes. Joshua carries the weight of succession, a burden handed down through prophecy and earned through years in the shadow of Moses. It's not a moment of fanfare and trumpets. It's charged with an overwhelming sense of responsibility. Just when fear could take root, the voice of God breaks through. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will not leave you or forsake you. God's command echoes down through time itself. Be strong, be courageous. Each of us, at some point, faces the vastness of uncertainty, knowing only that we hold tightly to faith and the promises given. This isn't merely a battlefield cry. It's an invitation to step forward, knowing that even when our leaders change, the one who guides us stands firm. In this narrative, the story of Joshua's commission is a vivid illustration of leadership, born out of a commitment to a cause greater than oneself. It speaks to the essence of true leadership, the courage to face formidable challenges, the strength to lead with integrity, and the faith to walk into the unknown, trusting in a divine promise that has never known the taste of falsehood. As Joshua prepares to lead his people into a land overflowing with both hardship and possibility, we are all reminded of those pivotal moments in our own lives, moments where we stand poised between what was and what could be. Yet know this, just as God spoke into Joshua's uncertainty, he walks beside you too. That promise of divine presence isn't locked away in ancient history. It pulses with life, right here, right now. The same God who whispered courage into the heart of Joshua is with you, with us, urging us on with a promise of presence that is as real today as it was on the banks of the Jordan. As Joshua's leadership unfolds, it reflects a template for our own journeys, to rise with determination when tests appear, to cross our own river Jordans, armed not with swords, but with unwavering faith. Let us heed that call to strength and courage, knowing we aren't just forging individual paths. We are threads woven into a grand tapestry, a story of divine promise, ever-present guidance, and boundless possibility awaiting those who dare to believe. As the first light washes over Israel's camp, an almost electric anticipation buzzes through the gathered thousands. Eyes are fixed on the Jordan, no longer just a river, but the final barrier between them and the land promised to their ancestors. Here stands Joshua, no stranger to trials, the legacy of Moses resting heavily upon him. This isn't just any military maneuver. The waters before them represent a test of faith as much as courage. The Jordan River, surging in the harvest flood, is no mere waterway. It's a roaring wall dividing Israel from their inheritance. By earthly standards, crossing is an impossible dream. Yet Joshua isn't acting just as a general today. He moves in rhythm with divine instruction. Priests carrying the Ark of the Covenant, the physical embodiment of God's covenant, step not into raging waters, but onto the muddy shore. A hush falls over the watching ranks of Israel. And then, the impossible. The river doesn't just subside, it defies even the laws of nature. Water piles upon itself, a path of dry land opening amidst the chaos. More than just defying a river, this crossing becomes a crucible, a trial of faith for the Israelites. The sight alone could cause them to turn back. It takes unimaginable courage to take that first step, not into gentle waters, but the unknown. We face such tests throughout our lives, not by stepping into rivers, but into uncertainty. Trusting that even when the path isn't clear, God guides our feet and gives us strength for that first courageous step. The Jordan's crossing reminds us that faith isn't about sitting back and waiting. It's a fire within, igniting action. It's that conviction in God's promises which compels us onward, sometimes blind to the how, but trusting in the who. This isn't some ancient lesson to admire. It's an invitation. Right now in our struggles, our hopes, we, like the Israelites, can choose to embrace faithfulness, to believe, to take that brave step forward, and taste victory born of faith that dares to act. A gasp rises as Israel stands on that newly made riverbed, not just relief, but an awakening, proof that God honors their commitment to Him. As they march onto this new soil, it's more than conquest. It's a renewal of their covenant. Remember, every journey of faith has its own Jordan River moment. That critical first step, even when hesitant, sets the course for victories greater than we can imagine. Let their footsteps echo across the centuries, motivating us to embark on our own God-guided adventures. Under Joshua, Israel approached their most daunting obstacle yet, the Jordan River, not just flowing, but overflowing in the harvest season. They could have faltered, seen defeat etched in the landscape itself, yet watch what happens when faith clashes against earthly odds. At God's command, the very forces of nature yield. The torrent ceases, an impossible pathway forming for His people. Picture the priests, entrusted with the Ark of the Covenant. Each step isn't just a military advance, it's a stride of sheer faith, venturing with no visible path except the promise of God. That crossing into the promised land, it reflects the moments we each must embrace. Moments when a leap of faith seems insane and the way forward is murky with doubt. It teaches us that the first step, even trembling, unlocks unseen miracles. Remember, those obstacles sometimes transform into the most wondrous beginnings, but only if we move in faith. Every path hides a Jordan River somewhere. Will we halt in fear, or will we, like Israel, stride into the waters and discover the hidden path our God provides? On the heels of victory, the Israelites do something unexpected. Before conquest, they pause for circumcision and celebrate Passover at Gilgal. Why now? It's more than ritual. It's a visceral reminder of who they are. Not conquerors, but a people held under a holy covenant with their God. It's a renewal, a promise to shed the old ways of the desert and fully embrace the land, the identity, and the responsibilities that await. Think of our Gilgal moments, times when we renew our pact with the divine, when we recommit to living out our faith with both joy and resolve. Life isn't just about blazing new trails. Sometimes, the most powerful chapters involve a revisiting, a renewal. Opportunities to reflect on where we've been, to recognize how divine guidance has carried us through every storm. Just like the Israelites celebrated Passover, remembering their exodus, we too have Passover moments, times to remember victories, celebrate the faithfulness of God, and find the strength to reaffirm our commitment to the values that matter, that define us. Let's not take such moments for granted. Brace yourselves, because on the other side of the Jordan, the story of Israel shifts from journey to conquest. It raises tough questions. How does a righteous people, led by God, claim a land already occupied? Witness the Israelites grapple with victories won by the sword, struggles in the face of compromise, and the constant lesson we're all still learning, that unwavering obedience unlocks the full strength of divine promise. Join us as we continue to unearth these truths, reminding ourselves of the promises God keeps, the strength found in unshakable faith, and the boundless potential ignited by taking one courageous step after another. This is a call for us to become bolder versions of ourselves, armed with the same timeless truths that shaped conquerors of both lands and of the spirit. Stay tuned after the close for the afterthoughts. I think you're really going to find it interesting. If these stories have touched your heart, help spread these powerful reminders of faith and perseverance. We're only going to get better. We're just getting started. Each like, share, and subscription allows us to reach more seekers of truth. So know this, you're in my prayers, and should you have any questions or requests, or if you just simply want to connect, find me in the comments or at relatenation@gmail.com. Until next time, peace and blessings, and I'll catch you on the next one. In these times, going with the flow is spiritual suicide. That flow has us speeding in the wrong direction. Yet, God didn't give us His word out of some cruel desire to trap us in rules. Those truths He wrote into us, into creation. They're like guardrails, and right now, they're being ripped out on every side. The afterlife isn't some abstract idea. Those choices we make now echo for eternity. If this message makes someone uncomfortable, good. Maybe those are the ears needing to hear most urgently. The story of Joshua, especially in its early chapters, serves as a potent reminder of the power of faith and obedience to God's commands. It's a narrative that resonates deeply in our current era, where the very fabric of moral and spiritual law seems under siege. The conquests of Joshua under God's guidance were not merely physical victories, but symbolic assertions of divine will over human rebellion and disobedience. The narrative that there are multiple truths is a dangerous illusion. The Bible clearly states that God created man and woman, and within this design lies the blueprint for order, family, and society. It's upon these truths that our nations were built, and it's by returning to these truths that we can restore them. Our call is not to adapt to the shifting sands of cultural relativism, but to stand firm on the rock of biblical principles. As we observe the chaos unfurling in our societies, the lesson is clear. Deviation from God's law leads to discord and destruction. The battles faced by Joshua and the Israelites might seem distant in time, but they mirror our struggles today. The erosion of biblical values, the redefinition of God-ordained identities, and the dismissal of divine laws are battles we are called to confront. As Joshua led with courage, we too are called to lead, not to blend in with the darkness, but to be lights that guide the way back to God's path. We are to be vocal, steadfast, and unapologetic in our advocacy for biblical law. For it is in this law that we find the answers to our society's ailments. The farther we drift from these divine statutes, the deeper we sink into chaos. In closing, let our resolve mirror that of Joshua. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Joshua 24:15. This declaration is our battle cry, a commitment to uphold God's design against the tide of cultural compromise. It is a call to action for believers to rise, to educate, and to help our neighbors see the wisdom and love embedded in every commandment given by our Creator. Together, let us work toward a revival of biblical living, knowing that the key to societal restoration lies in a return to God's timeless laws.